last 3 years, both as a member of the public and as a board member of the Planning Commission, I have seen a generational divide in the sticking points within this document. It's extremely important to name the generational divide in order to understand how this document will be used and who at the end of all of this will most benefit from it. On one side are the people calling for preserve and protect. They are mostly over 50, largely homeowners, a mix of long-term and new residents, and they're the ones that show up every single week. On the other side are people under 50, far less likely to own homes, often those feeling the housing crisis most acutely. They show up when they can, especially at the big visioning sessions, and they're the ones that are pushing for infill, mixed use, economic diversity, and incremental change. I am part of that generational divide as a 34-year-old making less than $45,000 a year who has watched my community of peers being pushed out. This is very personal to me. I can continue to hear my peers, working class community members, ask for more choices in where and how they live. Right now, if they can afford to live in Whitefish, the two options are largely overcrowded single-family homes with many roommates that are still stretched thin with their budgets, or living in large apartments. Very little choices on how housing in between exists. Apartments are part of the solution, but they cannot be the only solution. Without legalizing missing middle housing, we are left with a binary. Large single-family homes few locals can afford, or large apartment buildings that concentrate density in limited areas. The current binary of expensive single-family homes or large apartment buildings is insufficient. I urge you to amend the place types to allow at the very least fourplexes and townhomes by right within 1 mile of downtown. Without legalizing this missing middle housing, we reinforce a status quo that excludes the working class, young families, and those on fixed incomes. When locals can't afford housing here, they don't just move neighborhoods. They are forced to leave Whitefish entirely. Your choices, re the growth policy, will either cement a path of unaffordability or move us towards a future where more people of different economic backgrounds have more choices in how and where they live, work, and socialize. If this policy remains a tool to protect well-resourced neighborhoods while pushing density to the outskirts and working class areas, it is merely performative. For truly equitable growth, no neighborhood should experience rapid change, and no neighborhood should be exempt from change. Finally, I encourage you to put mixed use back in the economic development and transportation chapters. I also ask that you closely look at the economic development chapter. Whitefish is an extremely hard place to live on the current local service industry wages. Ensuring that this chapter is representative of the conditions on the ground and recognize the importance for economic mobility and economic diversity. I ask that you look at the original staff draft version of the economic development chapter and undo much of the red lines. Whitefish will grow. The question is whether the growth distributes opportunity equitably or continues to benefit only a few. Thank you.
Thanks, Mallory. Appreciate you sticking to 3 minutes.